I've asked, why do kickers miss? The answer is pretty simple. It's because they suck. But this time I'm asking, which kickers miss? More specifically, who is the worst kicker for every NFL franchise? Get ready to relive some trauma. And that's coming up right after this. The holidays are fast approaching, and the last thing you want to worry about is getting gifts for other people, especially your teenage sons, your dad, your bros, hell, your damn self. Well, I have you covered. The Perfect Package 5.0 from Manscaped is the ultimate gift, and it features the newly improved Lawnmower 5.0. The Lawnmower 5.0 has dual skin-safe blade heads. The upgraded trimmer blade is wider and tougher for mowing down the thicker grass. But now we have the interchangeable foil blade to get that ultra close, ultra sheen finish. Put that dangerous razor away. Hair of every dang length is now removed with one trimmer. And even better, the light on the lawnmower has been upgraded to bigger and brighter. Plus, it has all the same great features: waterproof, travel lock, long battery life, and a battery indicator. The Perfect Package also comes with the Weed Whacker to trim your nose and ears hairs, Crop Soother and Crop Preserver ball deodorant, and 2 free gifts: a travel bag and boxers. This really is the perfect gift for any manly man. So after this video, head on over to manscaped.com/5-points and get 20% off the Perfect Package 5.0 and free shipping. Again, that's manscaped.com/5-points for 20% off and free shipping. To make this list a little simpler, we're going to contain it to just soccer-style kickers, because before Pete Gogolak brought the Euro style to America, straight-on kicking was garbage. Arizona Cardinals Eric Schubert. The legendary announcer Pat Summerall once missed 59 of his 100 attempts with the Cardinals, but he doesn't make the cutoff. The prestigious honor goes to the diminutive Eric Schubert, who lined up for 11 kicks in 1986 and converted just 3 of them. Schubert was 5'8", and his kicks came up, well, short. Atlanta Falcons, Greg Davis. Did you know that Matt Prater started his career with the Falcons in 2007? He didn't last long because he made just one of his 4 tries before joining Denver a year later. Punter Michael Conan also tried his foot at field goals, attempting 13 kicks over 6 years and making just 4, a percentage of 28.3. That's not right. But the worst of the worst was Greg Davis, who spent 4 seasons in Atlanta and hit on just 65% in the late 80s. Baltimore Ravens, Billy Cundiff. Baltimore has a rich kicking history, trotting out perhaps the best to ever do it since 2012. But before Justin Tucker, Billy Cundiff was manning the kicker duties. Cundiff wasn't bad most of the time, hitting nearly 80% of his tries, but had one of the worst field goal attempts of all time in the most crucial juncture of the 2011 AFC title game, causing Ravens fans to curse his name until the end of time.
Get the fuck out of Baltimore! You fucking piece of shit! You've been unreliable all fucking season! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of my house right now!
Buffalo Bills, Jake Arians. Jake Arians lasted just 10 games in the NFL, and that's probably because he only converted 57% of his kicks in 2001 for the Bills. You might be wondering why Scott Norwood isn't the pick, but Norwood was actually a solid option before missing a tough kick on grass in Super Bowl 25. Thank God. Carolina Panthers, Jeff Chandler. Just 16 men have lined up for a field goal in Carolina Panthers history. Joe Nedney was statistically the best to ever do it in black, but the worst was Jeff Chandler, who attempted just 2 field goals for the Panthers in their Super Bowl season in 2004, missing both of them from inside 40 yards. And John Casey had the biggest fuck up, however, when he booted a kickoff out of bounds in the Super Bowl to set up Adam Vinatieri for that game winner. Chicago Bears, John Rivetto. Dare I bring up the double doink? Well, I guess I just did. Cody Parkey was a 77% kicker. Not great, but not a disaster either. His percentage would have been way higher if uprights didn't get in the way. He was way better than John Rivetto, who lasted just 2 awful seasons in the Windy City despite making just 45% of his attempts in 1981 and 1982. Cincinnati Bengals, Neil Rackers. Neil Rackers played for 12 years in the NFL, finding a long-time home in Arizona, but before he made it to the desert, Rackers spent 3 years in Cincy, converting on just 44 of his 67 attempts, including a rookie season in 2000 where he hit on just 57% of his kicks. The dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Cleveland Browns, Zane Gonzalez. The Browns have been experimenting with kickers for quite a while now, and in 2018 they found out that Zane Gonzalez was not the answer. The lowest point for Gonzalez came when he missed a pair of extra points and 2 field goals against the Saints, including the potential game-tying field goal in a 3-point loss for the Brownies, in kicking so pathetic Urban Meyer winced. Dallas Cowboys, Luis Zendejas. I'm very tempted to give this to Brett Maher, who famously shanked 4 extra points in a playoff win for the Cowboys back in the 2022 wildcard round. Then missed another for good measure a week later. What happened in that game? Yeah, but Brett Maher was a good regular season kicker at least. Instead, let's single out Luis Zendejas, who tried 16 kicks over 3 years in Dallas and made just 9 of them. So Zendaya would have been better than Zendejas. Denver Broncos, Taylor Russolino. The Broncos have a strong history of kickers going back to Jason Elam, who booted a 63-yarder in 1998, and that guy Matt Prater. There simply aren't a lot of good options, so we'll have to give it to this former XFL kicker Taylor Russolino, who replaced the COVID-stricken Brandon McManus for 1 game in 2020 and proceeded to miss his only field goal try, as well as 2 extra point attempts in a loss against Buffalo. He was promptly cut and never played in the NFL again. Poor guy. Detroit Lions, Alex Henry. Or is it Henry? Why you gotta spell it that way, you fucking asshole? After 3 strong seasons with the Eagles, Alex Henry signed with the Detroit Lions and completely lost his touch in 2014, going Russell Westbrook and missing 4 of his 5 field goal attempts in the Motor City, including 3 in 1 game against the Bills. Green Bay Packers, Eddie Garcia. The Packers have been around since Moses was wearing short pants, and the worst to ever line it up in their million-year history was Eddie Garcia, who missed 6 of his 9 tries over 2 years in the early 80s. Not nice. Obviously, their best kicker in franchise history was Chester Marcol, who was so coked up in a game in 1980 that he recovered his own block kick and ran it in for a touchdown to beat the Bears. Houston Texans, Chris Brown. There are just 10 kickers to choose from in Texans history, including running back Dare Ogunbowale, who recently nailed his only kick in a win against the Buccaneers. But someone has to get this honor, and statistically, it's Chris Brown, who was an original Texan and made 77% of his attempts along the way. He did not beat up his famous girl, nor could he dance. Indianapolis Colts, Mike Wood. Is idiot kicker Mike Vanderjagt the worst in franchise history?
We're talking about our idiot kicker who got liquored up and ran his mouth off. So
no, even if Peyton Manning might have picked him, he's actually the most accurate Colt to ever kick the ball. Just so you know, stupid. Instead, we'll go with Mike Wood, who was just 10 for 18 in 1981, a big reason why the Colts were 2-14 that year. Jacksonville Jaguars, Hayden Epstein. Let's take a trip to Epstein Island, where Hayden Epstein missed 4 of his 9 kicks for the Jags in 2002 before a hit was put out on him and he never touched a football in the NFL again. Kansas City Chiefs, Dave Rayner. KC has a stud right now in Harrison Butker, but Dave Rayner was pretty ass in 2007 when he missed 7 of his 22 tries, including 3 misses inside 40 yards, as the Chiefs, back in the dark days, went 4-12. Rayner shine, this guy sucked.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Las Vegas Raiders, Matthew McCrane. We all missed the Polish rifle, Sebastian Janikowski, who kicked 17 years for the Raiders, hitting on 80% of his tries when he wasn't roofing himself. Eventually, they had to find a new man, and before they landed on Swede Daniel Carlson, Matthew McCrane gave it a shot and missed 4 of 9 attempts in 2018. Los Angeles Chargers, Wade Ritchie. Hello? Is it a T you're looking for? No relation to Lionel, Wade Ritchie was the Chargers kicker in 2001, the year they drafted LT and Drew Brees. They should have spent another pick on a kicker because Ritchie missed 9 field goals that year, including 2 under 30 yards. Los Angeles Rams, Steve McLaughlin. The Rams were a dumpster fire in their first few years in St. Louis, and Steve McLaughlin didn't help the cause in 1995, missing half of his attempts, which is sadder than an SPCA commercial.
Hi, I'm Sarah McLaughlin. Will you be an angel for a helpless animal?
Miami Dolphins' Joe Nedney. Joe Nedney went on to have a long, successful career as a kicker in both Tennessee and San Francisco, but it didn't happen quite so easily. Nedney's rookie season in 1996 was something of a disaster. The 23-year-old missed 11 of his 28 attempts, including 4 misses from 30 to 39 yards. Miami said no thank you and watched as he bounced around the league before finding his footing in 2000. The Minnesota Vikings' Teddy Garcia. I know what you're thinking. It's gotta be Blair Walsh, right? It has to be. He missed that kick by a fucking mile. But Walsh was reliable before that fateful kick. More than we can say about Teddy Garcia, who missed 4 of his 5 kicks in 1989 before finding some redemption in Houston. So yeah, we have a Teddy and an Eddie Garcia on this list. The New England Patriots' Teddy Garcia. Foxborough is home to the most clutch kicker of all time. And also, Teddy Garcia. That's right, it's deja vu, everyone. Teddy, you finally made something. Again. Garcia kicked 1 season for the Pats in 1988, missed 54% of his kicks, and then got worse in Minnesota. And Garcia is now a Formula One reporter, according to a very bizarre passage on his Wikipedia page. New Orleans Saints' Aldrick Rosas. The last stop in Pro Bowl kicker Aldrick Rosas' career was the Big Easy, where he found that kicking field goals was incredibly hard, missing 3 of 4 attempts in 2021. He was automatic for the Giants 1 year, and then he just became terrible. He also had a DUI and a hit and run, so I'm glad he's on this list. Probably the only thing he hit that year. New York Giants' Joe Danello. Sorry, Joe, I'm sure you're a good guy, but the Giants have had some solid kickers throughout the years. I gotta pick somebody. Danello was a sub 60% kicker during his 7 years with the G-Men, including a 1979 campaign where he just made 45% of his attempts. And let's not forget Josh Brown, who was adept at hitting a lot more than the goalpost. New York Jets' Kerry Blanchard. There's not a ton of bad kickers to pick from here, so Kerry Blanchard gets the nod. He made just 69% of his kicks, eyebrow raised, during 2 years in the Meadowlands, but went on to be an All-Pro for the Colts in 1996. Philadelphia Eagles' Tony Franklin. Tony Franklin was a barefoot kicker, now an extinct breed in the NFL, but maybe he should have tried wearing a cleat on his right foot because he might have made more than 62% of his kicks over 5 years in Philly, or maybe he wouldn't have missed a 28-yarder in Super Bowl 15. Yeah, put a sock on, you loser. Pittsburgh Steelers' Todd Peterson. Todd Peterson spent 12 years in the NFL, but only won in Pittsburgh in 2002 because he could only connect on 12 of his 21 tries in the Steel City. I'm sure Yinzers cursed his name and said he was garbage. San Francisco 49ers' Matt Barr. After winning a Super Bowl with the Steelers in 1979, Matt Barr missed 2/3 of his kicks with the 49ers before they switched to Ray Wersching in time for a Super Bowl run of their own. Ironically, it was Barr who ended their season in 1990 when the Giants pulled off what was one of the biggest upsets of all time. Seattle Seahawks' John Leopold. John Leopold, I don't know how to say that, was the first kicker, and you don't even know, so don't correct me. You've never heard of this guy. He was the first kicker in Seahawks history, and he was also the worst, missing 13 of his 30 tries, leaving many sleepless in the Emerald City. He promptly retired after missing so many goddamn kicks. Tampa Bay Buccaneers' Roberto Aguayo. You know it's Roberto Aguayo. I mean, come on, he was the 59th overall pick in the draft in 2016, and he missed 9 of his 31 career attempts, plus 2 extra points in his only NFL season. He's a textbook case of the yips, more like Roberto Wide Righto, haha, rim shot. Tennessee Titans' Stephen Gostkowski. Our old friend Teddy Garcia almost made the cut once again, but Stephen Gostkowski was a little worse. After being an integral part of the Super Bowl wins for the Pats and making 4 Pro Bowls, Gostkowski arrived in Tennessee and started his Titans career by missing 3 field goals and 1 extra point in a narrow one victory in Denver. Oh my God. So the Broncos still lost. He missed 3 more kicks throughout the season and ended his career on the COVID list, leaving Titans fans missing Fat Randy Bullock. And finally, the Washington Commanders' Chris blew it. Washington was home to the only MVP kicker in NFL history, Mark Mosley, who won the award in the strike-shortened season of 1982. Geez, they must have been desperate to hand that trophy to anyone. If there was a least valuable player, it might have gone to Chris Blewett, who very appropriately missed 3 of his 5 kicks for the football team in 2021. Yep, play the sound bites.
Guess what? You blew it.
You blew it, man.
You blew it!
You blew it.
You blew it, boy! You really blew it!
You blew it! You had it all and you blew it! You blew it! You blew it!
You blew it.